Today, I'm sharing my 7-step for sale by owner system with you. This system has helped agents I've worked with earn their next listing in 7 days and earn weekly listings. And before making their first calls to for sale by owners, I help them understand their unique value that they're offering to the seller. One thing that's important to understand here is an agent's value isn't just selling the property. Plenty of for sale by owners are successful in selling their homes without an agent. An agent's true value comes from their unique ability and system to increase the seller's results, like helping them walk away with more money even after paying a commission, while meeting their desired timeline or sooner if they're open to that. And I've noticed that many agents don't know how it's possible. And if that's you, I'm going to link my For Sale by Owner training playlist in the description and the pinned comment for you to check out after this video. The first step in the 7-step FSBO system is find. There are both free and paid ways to find for sale by owners. I personally used and still recommend Vulcan 7. This is the system the team I was with at the time paid for, along with a triple line dialer from Mojo. Vulcan 7 not only pulled current and new for sale by owners daily, but it also included 6 months of previous FSBOs as well, which gave me plenty of people to call. Now, if you're not currently able to invest in one of these systems at the time, there are 3 main free ways you can find for sale by owners online. Those are Zillow, Googling for sale by owners near me, and Facebook Marketplace. In my YouTube playlist, I show you exactly how to find FSBOs using these 3 ways. As you're driving around, sometimes you'll see for sale by owner signs where the owner chose not to list it online, so keep your eyes peeled for these. Pro tip, especially if you're going the free route, create your list of who you'll call the day or night before your prospecting times. More calling and less stalling. So that was step 1 of the 7-step FSBO system, which was find. Step 2 is contact. And it may seem a bit odd for people who are actively looking to sell their houses, but it can be difficult sometimes to actually contact a FSBO. And one reason for this is because not all for sale by owners are people who aren't working and are readily sitting by the phone and answering every single call coming in from an unknown number. These are often busy people working 9 to 5s, trying to take care of their families, or they might be entrepreneurs or busy business owners. This is another reason that they need your help. Hint, hint. It's important to not assume that because they're not answering, they're not interested. Instead, every time they don't answer, I tell my clients to think to themselves, gosh, they probably really need my help. I'm going to quickly go over one more reason it can be difficult to contact a FSBO, and then we'll move on to the 3rd step. Now, check this out. There are 10,080 minutes in a week. If you're only calling twice a week, which is what I hear from a lot of agents who are calling for sale by owners, and assuming you're calling the same seller both times, this means you're only giving your FSBO maybe 2 minutes out of that 10,080 to answer your call. We're also assuming the phone rings for a full minute each time we call. So 2 is 0.018% of 10,080. If we're rounding, that's 0.02% chance to answer the phone each week, not even close to 1%. You'll have to work much harder for less results calling consistently 2 times a week than someone calling 5 times a week. Which, if you're curious, 5 times a week is just 0.496% of 10,080, which is still less than 0.5%. So tips to increase the number of for sale by owners you contact, other than increasing the amount of calls you make, is to supplement your calls, not replace. Supplement your calls with texts, emails, if you can, DMs, direct mail, even retargeted ads for you more advanced agents, as many different approaches that you can to create a feeling of omnipresence. And it's important to note here to make sure that they know that all these different approaches are from you. So that way it really does create the effect of omnipresence. You're on their phone, you're on their email, you're sending direct mail, you are omnipresent. Now that wraps up the 2nd step, which was contact. You gotta earn that first contact. So now we're on to step 3, which is the first convo. So when I was director of coaching and training for a brokerage several years ago, I was helping a dedicated group of agents who wanted to earn listings outside of their sphere of influence. And one thing we focused on was reaching out to for sale by owners. And I had just created my must ask FSBO questions list at this time, which has been much improved and tested since then. Using these questions and my guidance have even helped brand new real estate agents making their first calls ever as agents set appointments and earn listings. It was always entertaining and tremendously gratifying to see the look of disbelief and almost panic on their face as the seller was agreeing to an appointment. Then they'd hang up and ask me, all right, how do I do a listing appointment? Now, most of the agents I work with now aren't brand new anymore, but this still happens once they join one of my programs. I'm happy to share my new and improved questions with you as well. That will also be in the description and pinned comments. Now, one reason these questions won't be able to help you too much is if you're not able to actually ask the questions because an objection comes your way or you're not sure about how to help a seller walk away with more money. And I do have trainings, again, covering both of these things in the playlist that is in the comments or the description. So far, we've covered finding for sale by owners, contacting them, and having that first conversation. Now, the fourth step in the 7-step FSBO system is to ask. This might happen during your first call. If you're able to have a good convo, it might be your fourth call. It might even be a Facebook DM or a flyer sent to their home. Step 4 is to ask them to take the next step with you. If you're on the phone, it's not likely that the seller is going to ask you to meet with them, even if they like you or think that you can help. You will have to guide them to a meeting or the next step by asking. One tip that has helped my clients to set more appointments and less conversations is naming the appointment, not just offering a casual chat or meetup. So an equity boosting strategy session, for example. It's a way to stand out from other agents, conveys authority, and even social proof just by naming it. And something else to keep in mind is if the seller hasn't talked with you yet and is unfamiliar with you, offering an appointment or even a phone call can be asking a lot from the seller if they're just looking at a flyer, email, or an ad of yours. Instead of jumping all the way to an appointment or phone call, consider giving them something of value in exchange for their contact info that doesn't involve them having to do the work of calling you or set up time. So for an example here, your flyer could say something like, hey, I've been trying to reach you. Remember, because we're supplementing, not replacing our calls. I've been trying to reach you from this number because I specialize in helping for sale by owners walk away with more money, even if they don't hire me. Until we're able to connect, I wanted to give you this free video breaking down the 3 things for sale by owners are doing right now that's wasting their time and costing them money. Scan this QR code and let me know what email to send your video to. Now you'll know which for sale by owner has taken this step. Watching that video from you will allow them to build rapport without you having to be there, and you might even get a piece of contact info from them you didn't already have. This is just a rough example. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, but please do not wait to start calling or do not stop making calls until you finish this. And my mentor will call this procrastinating. When we're doing work that feel like, we need to be doing, but we're really procrastinating on making the calls or doing what needs to be done. So make the calls and do this outside of prospecting time, then add it in when you're ready. That wraps up step 4, which was ask. Ask for the next step. Now, step 5 of the 7-step FSBO system is to follow through. It doesn't matter what step we are talking about here, whether it's contact, first convo, the fourth convo, even closing. There will always be some type of follow through to manage. And this is why I use the phrase follow through instead of follow up. To me, follow up seems like a one and done, right? Did you follow up? Yep, follow up. The ball is now in their court. Whereas follow through sounds more continuous. Follow through with their sales cycle always. Now, I've told my clients, if you don't plan on following through, you might as well delete them from your CRM, right? No sense in having them there if you have no plan on following through. And you'll want to make a note here that an objection or a complaint is not a reason to stop your follow through. I'm not interested, I'm not hiring an agent is not a reason to stop following through. And I address this in my FSBO training playlist linked in the description and the pinned comment. You'll learn more about the difference between an objection and a complaint and what to do about it. HubSpot CRM states that 60% of the people you talk with say no in some way at least 4 times before agreeing to move forward with you. You've got to have a way to nurture through the no's while providing relevant value. And by the way, offering to do an open house for them is not a way of providing value. That's a whole different video for another time. Follow through is something my clients and I cover heavily in my program, since 80% of income is lost because of not having this mapped out and organized into a system so you know exactly what to say, what to do, and when in order to earn that 80% boost. That was step 5, follow through, which leads us to step 6 of the 7-step FSBO system, which is the actual appointment. The key here is to not treat this like a regular listing appointment. That's what everyone else is going to do. My clients following this system earn more listings from for sale by owners because they're offering value to the sellers even if they aren't hired. They don't go in and immediately dive into a tour of the property, do a CMA and net out because that's what everyone else is doing. They're especially not using any PowerPoint slides, brochures that the other agents on the team or brokerage might also be using, or something generic pulled from a website or Canva. Instead, they start by asking questions and gaining a crystal clear understanding of the for sale by owner's goals, why they want to accomplish those things, what they're currently doing to sell the property, how they're following up with buyers, and many other questions to ensure they know how to clearly convey a plan or roadmap for the seller to go from where they are now to reaching their goals. This allows my client to only cover what's important and relevant to the seller, what they actually care about, and the gaps they're missing, instead of hearing the same pitch that's offered to every seller. By the end of the appointment, the for sale by owner is left with understanding on why they might not be getting the traffic and offers they thought they would be, and they know if and how my client's specific plan could help them increase their results. It's important to know that when we set this appointment, we don't say 100% that we can improve their results, because that's what this appointment is to find out, if and how we can possibly help. So we've covered finding for sale by owners, contacting them, having the first convo, asking for that next step, following through, the appointment, and now we're at the last and probably most important step of the 7-step FSBO system, and that is to repeat. Agents I've worked with that have had the best success don't stop finding, contacting, having convos, asking, following through, having appointments, and they don't. Once you stop, you're guaranteed not to have success. This is why it's essential to commit to working with for sale by owners and not trying. If you tell yourself, oh, I'll try for sale by owners, just give it a try, you're already giving yourself an out. If you commit to having success and continue to repeat this system over and over again, you can't lose. And if you are struggling with this, you need to reach out to me. I'll put my email in the description. So now you can go ahead and click on the FSBO training playlist in the description, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember to subscribe.